Hello and welcome to this conversation regarding the Paisley Suite presented by Outspoken Arts. I'm really pleased to have Jack Dickson and Stephen Thompson with us today. We're going to be talking about the Registrar's Last Entry, and Jack is our writer and Stephen is our producer.
Okay, everybody, hi there. I'm Jack.
And I'm Stephen Thompson.
Great, good. So let's get straight into it. Stephen, can you give us a wee bit of background as to the original idea for commissioning these new monologues?
Well, the idea of the Registrar's Last Entry was inspired by an actual registrar of Renfrewshire who was an elderly person, an older person in care. During the Paisley 2021 bid, we had been meeting local groups, particularly older people's groups like Roar Connections and the Disability Resource Centre. And we met a number of retired care workers who were not only telling us about their working life, but also telling us about some of the clients that they had met over the years. And this particular story of the registrar emerged. What was quite telling was how the care packages had changed over time, where originally care workers were going in for more than half an hour, doing cooking and cleaning and, a bit of social chat and helping out with shopping and all sorts of things. And the care package had reduced to about 10 minutes, literally tea and at night. And this registrar was quite a character. She was a new care package. And the challenge, I think, for the care workers was how to assist her in making the right choices. So we presented some of those ideas to Jack, and Jack ultimately, we decided to change the gender of the registrar to protect the original story. And Jack really went on what I would say, a flight of fancy with this, and really expanded the background and the story of the registrar and their life. And what I think we've achieved is a real insight into how older people are resilient and not just victims of care.
Thanks, that's great, Stephen. So Jack, having been presented with the brief, how did you come about with the character of Johnny and his partner Hector?
Well, Johnny and Hector are actually based on two old friends, and they'd been together since 1974, and I've known them since 1983. And they just defied all your preconceptions about a couple in a long-term relationship. And I say preconceptions in the sense that we don't usually see relationships represented. We don't usually see these sort of relationships represented. And I think it's a real relationship in the sense that people don't always get on, and people don't always form relationships in constantly, everybody happy, everybody smiling, everybody saying I love you constantly. That's not the stuff that makes up a long-term, day-to-day relationship. And I always feel a writer's skill is observational. You can say, it comes from inside, but I don't think that's actually true. I think a good writer actually just watches, and I watched them over sort of 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and they were still going strong. And I wondered what the secret of that relationship was. And when Hector got ill, I mean, obviously, it was completely devastating for everybody. But the way his partner reacted to it and the way he soldiered on was just a complete inspiration. And the way at the end of his own life, he took control. And I just thought it was important to get that out there.
Absolutely, Jack, absolutely. Now, Johnny himself is a bit of an old curmudgeon, a bit cantankerous at times. He's got a charm to him, but he's not the nicest of people.
Oh, he was a character. He was a complete character. He was an excellent host. They gave great parties. They gave great excursions. I mean, he had the ability that a lot of older people have, just to put other people at their ease. And yeah, I mean, him and Hector fought like cat and dog, you know, the whole time. Well, obviously it couldn't be the whole time. They must have got on at times. But in the sense that became part of what was, I suppose you could think of as their song. You know, they incorporated that into the way that they related to each other, the way they related to everybody else, the way they related to the world. And I think that's what the secret is. I think it's finding a way of relating to people that works for you.
And then he's presented with this caterer, Maria, and initially he's quite angry about this, but she sort of grows on him, doesn't she?
Well, yes, oh yeah, and I thought it was important for the Outspoken Arts play, the registrar, that we stress that what an important job, you know, being a carer is. It's a completely, you know, it's so important. It's also incredibly challenging. It's underpaid. I mean, our carers are undervalued incredibly, and they do an incredibly sort of vital job. Often, as you know, our play shows, I think, in incredibly challenging circumstances. And I think that it's the fact that he just has somebody else there. Yeah, and it's for decades and decades he had Hector there, and obviously his carer isn't Hector, but in a sense she provides a similar role. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen, how do you feel about the modern issues that are addressed in the play?
Well, I think, you know, as Jack touched on there, the relationship with the carer becomes fundamental sometimes. You know, that quite often, sadly, in the news, we hear of the difficult stories of care workers who are either, you know, have become abusive, or care workers who are absolutely fundamental and are, you know, the cornerstone of people's lives. And I think that the challenge in the care system, where care packages have been reduced to such a short time, when older people sometimes have become, you know, ill or lost a partner or become isolated from their family support. You know, most young families are all out working, so they don't have the time to look after their elderly relatives, their older relatives. And that carer becomes the most vital person that they need and know. And when it's an ever-changing face and a 10-minute kind of, you know, cup of cocoa and a few pills and popped off to bed, that's not a life. And I think that's where older people sometimes react quite strongly against the kind of, you know, cotton wool treatment, as they call it. You know, they don't want to be packed off to bed and at 5 o'clock at night just because that's the care workers round. And I think that's where the system has to really reflect that people rely on these relationships and they become familiar, and there needs to be more care and more time. And if it means going to the shops or doing a bit of laundry or cooking a wee bit of fish, or you know, just even sitting for a chat for half an hour, I think we all want that somehow. You know, whether you're older or not. And I think the care system has to reflect that. You know, there needs to be a bit more humanity in the system, not a kind of vacuum-packed experience in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So let's talk about our actor, Benny Young, who I think delivers a fantastic portrayal of Johnny. What do you guys think?
Yep, he does such an excellent job. He caught that that weird sort of combination where, in a sense, you're constantly, you're looking for somebody to perform to. Yeah, I mean, our character is looking for somebody to spar with.
Yeah. And he loves being centre of attention, doesn't he?
Exactly. Yes.
I liked his waspish manner as well, because I think that, you know, particularly, you know, in most gay relationships, there's an aspect of that kind of queenie waspishness that comes across. We're also used to it as the lingua franca of our, you know, life in clubs and pubs and how we spar with each other. And you know, when you see that, you know, it does remind me a bit, you know, of other things. But certainly, I think it was fun and it was well intentioned. You know, love sparring, as Jack would call it. Sometimes a wee bit harsh, but then that's life. That's a kind of reality, you know. We'll live with.
And I think we bring that to life very well, really.
Yeah.
So tell us, what do you think we can learn from Johnny and his situation?
Well, I think one of the important things for me, anyway, is to get the non-standard gay or straight relationship out there. Yeah, you know, we're in drama. You know, we're supposed to be challenging. Yeah, you know, it's not all sweetness and light, and it's sometimes it's not all about well, I was going to say it's not all about me, but in the case of our Johnny, it is about, you know, me, and if you've spent you know, your entire life being completely spoiled, you know, and being the center of somebody's attention, you know, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it is what it is. Yeah.
Stephen, do you want to say anything?
I was going to say, I think that issue of taking control of your life, you know, the resilience, you know, obviously Johnny goes through what he thinks might be his final solution is to, you know, step up a ladder and throw himself off after the last fag and, you know, all the reminiscence. But ultimately that doesn't become the answer for him, and he rescues himself with his own great solution, you know. And I think that tapping into your inner strength and your resilience, not giving up your life to the police or to the council or to the care system, but actually saying, no, I want to do it my way. And I think, you know, I love that moment just as he shuffles off, slightly Chaplin-esque, twirling the cane, you know, you know, a disco tune in the background, thinking, I'm not giving up, you know, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. And that, I think, is very positive, and we need to see more of that, because obviously the last year of COVID-19 and the lockdown and the isolation and the loss that people have experienced has been profound. But, you know, there are many people who have survived as well, and survived through that loss and through that pain. And that's what it reminds us of, is how to go out with grace and fun, and maybe not with grace, actually, with a bit of glamour, you know. You know, I think my favourite moment is, you know, when he comes on with a lovely waistcoat, and you see this, you know, wee hint of a past life, and the glamorous, tall, you know, dapper man that he was, and he's, you know, he's still obviously tall and attractive as an older man, but you get a hint of that kind of, you get a hint of his vanity, which I think is really nice.
Excellent. Well, it's been great working on these projects, I have to say, and helping to create these positive role models. And more power to your elbow, Stephen, and to Outspoken Arts.
Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you, Jack, for great words as well. And I think we're so grateful just to have been able to record them theatrically and make something of them. So let's hope to see them on the stage next year. That will be the best part.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Morning, folks.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.